Robert Mueller's Russia investigation may be over, but what about the investigations in the House? My colleague Manu Raju caught up tonight with Congressman Adam Schiff, the chairman of the House Intelligence Committee.
Mr. Schiff, do you accept the finding that there was no Trump-Russia conspiracy that Robert Mueller found?
I certainly accept that the prosecutorial judgment of Bob Mueller is sound. I've said all along that we would accept whatever conclusions he reaches as a prosecutor. I've also said that there is a big difference between whether there's evidence of collusion, and I think that evidence is in plain sight, and whether you can establish a proof beyond a reasonable doubt of a criminal conspiracy, and I accept his conclusion that he could not. I do want to say, with respect to the obstruction part as well, that what troubles me the most about that is that you have a attorney general who applied for the job by talking down any potential obstruction conviction or indictment, who then went to a Senate confirmation and refused to recuse himself. I don't think under those circumstances he should ever have been confirmed. But he has now done the job he applied for, which is attempt to exonerate Mr. Trump when Mr. Mueller said no exoneration was in order. That ought to deeply concern people, that someone was handpicked for the purpose and executed that purpose. That does not, I think, tend to enhance the credibility of the Justice Department.
Will you drop your investigation into Russian interference now that this exhaustive investigation is over and the conclusion was that there's no Trump-Russia conspiracy?
Our investigation has always focused on counterintelligence issues. That is the president or anyone around him compromised in some way? That work has to go on.
Adam Schiff earlier today. I want to bring in now Congressman Greg Steube, a Florida Republican who is a member of the Judiciary Committee. Congressman, thank you so much for coming on. I just want to get your response first to the Chairman Schiff. Are you troubled that Barr made the decision on obstruction, considering that he authored a memo last year saying the obstruction investigation was fatally misconceived?
Well, the first thing that he said that troubled me was he said there's evidence in plain sight. What evidence in plain sight? You've had an investigation for 22 months, over $25 million, 2,800 subpoenas, 500 witnesses, and the finding by the Mueller investigation was there was no collusion. So what evidence is he referring to that's in plain sight? So I'm troubled by his comments. Look, the investigation is now over. They found no collusion, and we need to move on to things that the American people want us to work on, jobs, the economy, and things that Floridians are focused on.
Mm-hmm. And how about Schiff on the counterintelligence investigation? He says that the work has to go on. Are there more questions that need answers here on things like the Trump Tower, Moscow, or anything else in your estimation?
Look, the House Intelligence Committee, before I came to Congress, investigated this, found no collusion. The Senate Intelligence Committee weeks ago investigated this, found no collusion with looking at more documents that Mueller has looked at. You've had investigators looking at this for 22 months, spending $25 million of taxpayer dollars, and found no collusion. So I don't know why we are going to continue to use taxpayer dollars to go after something that has now been found by the special counsel that there was no collusion.
You know, the investigations into the House and Senate previously, Democrats said they were shut down, and it was not followed up on, and that Republicans shut it down and weren't asking questions that could have garnered the information that they needed to make a real judgment on that. Do you disagree with that?
Well, the current investigation in the Senate happened in this Congress. They were still investigating it during this Congress.
The Senate is still Republican-controlled, but go on.
Yeah, but it's bipartisan. Both members have the opportunity to be involved in their committee's process. I think you had the special counsel that has gone through this for 22 months. The American people are ready to move on.
As a congressman, as an American, do you want to know why Mueller wouldn't reach a conclusion on obstruction and how he reached his decision on conspiracy?
The Attorney General and Rob Rosenstein, who had been in the Obama administration for 8 years, determined that they didn't have evidence to charge for obstruction. That you have somebody from both administrations making that decision. So what exactly they're going to prove? Look, I voted to make all of the report public along with my colleagues on both sides of the aisle. But even people in the Justice Department, Rob Rosenstein, who had been there during the Obama administration, had said there's not any evidence to bring any charge of obstruction.
So you want to make the report public, but you don't think it's going to garner any more information? Is that what you're saying?
I have no problem with it being public. I voted to make it public. But what I'm saying is you have two Department of Justice officials, one Rob Rosenstein, who's been there during both administrations, determining that there wasn't evidence to bring an obstruction of justice charge against the president.
Thank you, Congressman. I appreciate your time.
Thank you for having me.
I want to bring